So this is the weekly review for April 15th until April 19th, 2024 for my system as it relates to Dow Jones Index. This week was a very an interesting one to say the least. Rather slow, but interesting. So if we go back from the start of the week right now, we can see how price actually, or what were the targets? What was the expectation coming into price? Well, for price delivery coming into the week, and I could see lows to be ran. That was my ideal, so to speak. Lows to be ran. Which lows? Previous order flow range liquidity lows that more or less failed to do its job, so to speak. So previous order flow range liquidity or previous order flow range that failed to fulfill its purpose now becomes targets for us as we view price. I said this one's a bit interesting. Well, it's a bit lower, but it's a bit interesting. But what you can say now, getting into framing the idea for the week, I did with shorts, to be honest. Shorts to the lows that were already mentioned before. And Monday kind of set the tone for this, to be fair. Monday kind of set the tone for this. How we especially came into the session, or came into New York Stock Exchange open, and where we actually mitigated price, and then where we eventually delivered to in regards to order flow ranges, order flow range liquidity. But as I did, I think it was in the, which video was it? The most recent video I did, or the one before this, regarding order flow ranges, I realized this was the range I was intended to play from, but price delivered well to more or less like intermediary range, which I found quite interesting. But that was one of those cases where it wasn't completely clear for me in my system, so it wasn't taken at all. Most definitely it was not taken at all. And then eventually you could just see the actual delivery to the liquidity targets. Now, what was a bit more interesting is all we actually delivered, but then what happened in the subsequent days, the Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and obviously Friday, because the idea was still to short until proven otherwise. And this is where it gets interesting, because on Tuesday, I would say something a bit similar happened, whereas like you're waiting for price to actually mitigate the range, or the intended range, what you regard as a range based on those fully defined factors, but you never got the mitigation and actual delivery to the, well, mitigation before the actual delivery. Yeah, you get delivery, but it wasn't an entry there, so to speak. This is where it got a bit interesting as well, because in such cases where price is so messy or more or less unclear, then I don't bother to become involved. I don't bother to guess what's going on. I like to operate in clear conditions. So once I know when my system is actually there, I could just execute normally, I don't have to second guess or anything. So say for instance we continue to move forward, and eventually we got to the liquidity low, the targets, and between Tuesday and Wednesday, completely vile. But what's interesting is that we actually sweep this high, and it kind of speak to me, you know what? We swept this high prior to taking the order flow range liquidity low. That is very interesting. What was it interesting is because it kind of framed the idea, or the trade idea, for Friday, where it's saying, you know what, shorts are definitely on the cards. Clear liquidity, play towards the order flow range liquidity low, and now it's just about validifying the range at hand. What's interesting is that I was seeing another flow range liquidity high being printed because the validifying factor being the support and liquidation. And I also saw the order flow range liquidity low being more or less put in place, with the validifying factor being this reverse switching order flow. Let me probably just remove those letters, to be honest. And all it took for me at this stage was to actually get in the position as long as time warranted such, as long as price mitigated this area that I intend to, that my entry model dictates that I play from within my actual time period. So this was Friday's position, ready to play towards the order flow range liquidity low that was more or less established already, given the validifying factors that were already at hand. So much that when we actually came into the session, it was at this stage when we played towards the support and liquidation, that's when my limits were set, and I was ready to become involved in prices delivery. Now it's more or less for, when price actually entered, and this was when 9:45, and then it ran until it didn't. It ran, that was like 1 hour. Yeah, it ran like 1 hour, and then I said to myself, this is very interesting, because I saw it messing about, and it fit within like my metric in regards to like how I manage my positions, or not how I manage my position, but how I manage myself when I'm in a position. So much that I collected data on how much time it takes for me to actually hit a stop loss. So after a specific amount of time, given where price is relative to where my entry is, then I know with a high degree of clarity or certainty that more often than not, I would actually get delivery to my targets, rather than say a stop loss, for instance. Usually these stop losses happen within the first 15-20 minutes. Yeah, the first 15-20 minutes. But what was interesting about this position is that when I realized that 15-20 minute grace period was up, and I was still in position, and I said, you know what, it's consolidating, then I know for certain one of those weird, or one of those passive moves likely to happen very soon. And we had it, and at this stage I thought that, yep, we were going to run towards the liquidity targets, but then a couple candles later we got a little reversal, and then that eventually led to my stop loss, which was very interesting, because the expectation for this one was for price to run to my targets. But it goes into how you're actually behaving, or how you're framing your mind, or priming your mind coming into the actual position. I didn't mind taking a -1 when I set this limit, because I know for certain that it fit my criteria, it fit my rules, it fit my understanding of the market, it fit the methodology that I intend to employ. So all of those criteria more or less were checked, and for me it was like, I have to enter because it fits the system, and it fits within the idea of me executing professionally as a professional operator, so to speak. That's where I reckon it gets a bit more interesting. It gets a bit more interesting where this is concerned, because in the event that I was like, you know what, I wasn't gonna take this trade because I wasn't sure, and all that madness, then who's me as a professional operator in that case? Then I wouldn't be staying true to myself, one of them situations. So I reckon this was a calm one, to be honest, a calm -1. But I posed a question in the group, whether or not something was wrong with the trade. I asked the question, and the response I got was no. I was very pleased to see that the response was no, because indeed nothing wasn't wrong with the trade as the system is concerned. It's just one of those like data points. I regard it as like a data point. Whereas that you know for certain the loss of income with the system. It's not more or less up to you to determine when that loss is going to be. It's up to you to determine whether or not you take the position that would warrant the system being met, regardless of whether or not it's a win or a loss. But this one just happened to be a loss. Similar to how the last one, when was it? Last week, Thursday, happened to be the winner. And it's like in such cases, you just don't mind because you understand what it means to be executing the system properly or executing the clear system properly. That's where I reckon it gets much more interesting. I reckon that's all. The week was very calm for me. One trade taken. Yeah, one trade taken, which was on the Friday. And overall -1. Extremely calm indeed. Extremely calm indeed. In such cases, just leave it steady. But getting into what I found interesting, or what I'm finding interesting now, when I started with video saying I short until proven otherwise. When we got this switching order, well, yeah, I can regard the switching order flow. The moment my last bearish order flow range fails to perform its role or fulfill its objective in regards to playing towards this order flow range liquidity low, it speaks to me that, you know what, we might just be switching momentum. We might just be switching momentum so much that, as I was saying at like start the video as well, that this low became very interesting. Especially as it relates to more or less like a overall order flow range I was looking at from way back when, from some time ago. I think we were at these highs, and so, you know, it's very interesting because the overall range is being put into place the moment I saw this logo. So for me to see how it reacted now for longs, I kind of ready to play towards that long initiative now. But it's more or less where am I going to get involved in such price. It all depends, to be honest. It all depends. Tomorrow we'll do my pre-session analysis and see how price actually develops, so much so I can make an informed decision based on the information presented at hand, or presented at that time, so to speak. Now it's just about waiting. When I know for certain I have a range high in place, then I will look to confirm where in this price leg the range low is. Obviously, we'll be looking at this as my range low to start with, but from my experience, I'm not absolutely certain that this will be mitigated so much that it continues the price leg. We might get it from a little bit higher, but I don't know this for certain. That's why it's crucial for me to wait and see where the actual range high is actually put into place. Then I should get more information. But I reckon that's all, to be fair. And that is all. April 15th to what? April 19th. Yeah, April 15th to April 19th. A very calm week. Extremely calm week. Extremely calm. -1, one trade taken. Now, got some interesting stuff. Here being cooked, so to speak. Being cooked in regards to the system. That's way too interesting, man. The guys in text know. Indeed. But I reckon I can just close off this video now. That was your weekly review for me and the system. I hope that you conducting your weekly reviews as well. I really hope so. So much that you could actually go ahead and monitor your performances, or analyze your performances and see where you went wrong, see where you could improve. Indeed. I was on a different tab just now, but when I was talking just now, but Nah, let me not go into that. But I reckon that's all for this video. That is all indeed. That is all.